Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Free the Trade. I'm the host, DK305007, and today we are doing SPY analysis live. All right, just like we do every morning when we have these live streams here on Free the Trade, we are going to start off with looking at the news and also the market sentiment and go from there. Good morning. Good morning. Let's jump straight in here. First of all, the Fear and Greed Index is sitting at 14 on the S&P 500. I'm sorry, on the CNN Fear and Greed Index for the S&P 500. We had we had a Fed meeting yesterday in which there was some. It was pretty neutral, but there was some fears that were expressed during that meeting by Jay Powell. And we did see a slow, steady grind down throughout most of the afternoon yesterday, which brings us to the news for today, where we see Trump pushing out a Truth Social post saying that Powell's termination cannot come fast enough. This was due to Powell stating that there could be inflationary drawbacks to the tariffs and such that were on China and other nations. So here's kind of an overview of that here. Trump says it was too late and too wrong. He should have lowered the interest rates like the ECB long ago. He should definitely lower them now, and basically he needs to be fired. So that's Trump's post this morning, and that's kind of what we woke up to. Markets did recover a little bit overnight. Futures are up 0.54%, and yeah, that's kind of where we are right now. We did see United Healthcare plunge. I did hear that it was about 20% down overnight. 19% is what it's saying here. Not really sure why that happened though, other than earnings didn't hit. Okay, it looks like they had adjusted it by quite a bit. Okay, that does make sense then. All right, well, all right, let's jump into the market. Let's take a look at at the charts here. Just bear with me one moment. I'm loading my charts. Already. Here's what we're looking at. We're 15 minutes from market open at this time. Okay, and for this range on the 1 hour charts, let's take a quick look here. We're still trading under the 200 SMA, which is a bearish sign. We're also still below the 50, the 21, the VWAP, and the 9 SMA. This is generally a pretty bullish, a pretty bearish indicator or setup. Looking at the year chart, we have just crossed an interesting level. If we look at the day, there we go. You'll see that last night we had this crossing of the 50 and 200, which is a sign, or it's called the death cross or the black cross, and it's a sign of a long-term bear market, which is a little bit unfortunate, but we did have that cross. We also saw that happen on Tesla last week. There it is. We saw it happen on Nvidia, which I didn't actually read anything about Nvidia's crossing. Don't know that there must not have been as much, there wasn't as much news about Nvidia when they crossed. Nobody said anything about it. If we look at IWM, they've crossed. If we look at the Qs, they have also just crossed. And so we have an interesting thing going here. What's actually really interesting is that the Qs crossed, and the next day was the pump from the Trump Truth Social posts. But that being said, we do seem to have an ongoing bearish outlook for the market. The trend does seem to be heading more in a downward direction. And we are, looks like the market is pricing in the worst case scenario from now, or starting to. Jumping to today in pre-market. Let's take a look at what we had going on here. High of 531.47, a low of 527.06, currently sitting at 528.14. Or are we? Hang on, let me see. Yes, 528.05. Looks like we're on the lowest range, below the VWAP, which is kind of interesting. Could be a bearish outlook Based on the pre-market, it looks like there's a lot of red today. Are below the 200 EMA or SMA, EMA. Looking at the 5-minute. Pretty bearish all around here. We are seeing a triple crossover on the EMAs on the 5-minute chart. Heading into a sell-off cycle right as market's opening. I want to see what we look at on the 15. Okay, another dip on the MACD. We did start to come out of the sell cycle, went right back into it. Trading below all of the SMAs and such, so it looks pretty bearish today. It'll be interesting to see how that changes at market open, if that begins to turn around, or if that continues to stay the same. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Now looking at the week chart, I'm going to go to the 30 minutes on this one. We got a couple of things going on here. A lot of different levels of support and resistance here. I'm trying to find. Yeah. It's not looking wonderful, to be honest. Starting to come into a sell-off cycle on the 30 minutes. Okay. Here we are. We're 10 minutes from market open at this time. Okay, starting to see some bullish momentum on the 1-minute chart. Let's go ahead and close that over to the day. Cool. At this point, we are going to also bring in the other group here and tune in and see what they have to say about the market as well. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are we doing today?
Good morning.
Alrighty.
We are doing. How about you?
Doing pretty good. Just taking a look at the morning charts here. I have already looked through some of the fear and greed index, which is at 14. Also have a couple of news articles that are of interest, such as Donald Trump calling for Jay Powell's resignation, or rather saying that he should be removed from office or position. Then I also saw that everyone else was talking about the United Healthcare as well, which is something we saw and thought was pretty interesting. 20% decline overnight. Missed their earnings apparently. Anyways, a little bit of an upward movement on the 1 minute chart as we go towards the opening, but we're already hitting almost 70 on the RSI. So that'll be interesting. For those who didn't see the post yesterday, we did cross the 50 and 200 moving averages on the day charts. Those are the first time those two lines have touched on SPY since 2023 on January 2025.
Shit, what are we looking at? Anyway.
The 50 and 200 on the daily. Let me show you what that looks like. Here's the day charts. Here's the 1 year chart. We're looking at this green and this red line. These have not touched since 2023. Let's go out to like a 5-year outlook. Okay. Here's today, or yesterday. The last time they touched was back here. And if you go before any of the market crashes that we've had, a precursor to each of those was the cross on that. It's not a terrible absolute, hey, we're going to have a market crash, but it does precurse any market crash that we do have. So it's interesting that we had one, and usually what it means is we've had a steady decline for at least 2 months, and are still in a bearish environment. So something to consider as we go forward. I think the most important thing going forward would be to continue to monitor those and watch them and see how it confirms or falls apart. We also understand that, with a truth post, a truth social post, or a Twitter post, that could 100% just reverse in a second.
Literally.
So it's not an indicator. It's not.
Seems to be variable too. Like, I don't know. It's strange.
Yeah, and it's
usually we can start making the case or the claim more successful. Copy of any Washington accident. Visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Man, that guy.
Who is it?
No, he's gone. I think he just
Okay. All right. But yeah, it's. I mean, looking at the market, it's hard to say what we're gonna do today. We've had so much crazy stuff come up within the last 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say. Like you guys know that we ground down throughout the afternoon yesterday, which is fine, and usually expected on a Fed day. But now we've recovered. Yet we've also have this cross that's very bearish. We have some more news that could be considered bearish. It looks like we're probably going to have another bearish day potentially, but we don't know that for sure. So it's hard to say.
Of course. What do you think? What do you think would realistically happen if Jay Powell got fired or replaced? I guess.
I think there would be a
big sell off, and then after a month when they negative fucking rates, it pumps.
Yes, pretty much. Basically, I think it'd be a very, very adverse reaction to it, kind of a knee-jerk reaction, and everything just drops into the abyss.
Of course.
And then if they did lower those rates and such, then that of course would stimulate the economy and see a massive growth. But at what cost down the road,
It's like a tumor.
It's like yes, that's like injecting, the economy and giving it like, I don't know, it's like giving a toddler an energy drink. Like he's going to be insane, but what's going to happen to that toddler's mental health, when he's 30 because of forcing energy drinks down his throat when he was 2.
I can see that.
So it's very interesting to see.
I'm so sad I wasn't in call with you guys yesterday. Damn it.
Oh yeah, apparently we went all the way to like 5 o'clock. Oh, no, we went past 5 o'clock.
You did. I was fucking. I wanted to go home so badly, but I had to keep doing shit.
You're talking about mice brains and stuff.
My entire analysis for playing like nearly only puts is that I have no faith in this fucking administration.
Of course, insane.
Well,
you also just got to realize that
like,
any good news is a pump immediately, and so you can get fired.
Yeah, I just stepped away from I've been like listening to you guys here and there, but I've been kind of busy with other stuff, and I've just been kind of taking in the news and like the state of things, and I'm like, I think I'm just in general betting on the U.S. against the U.S. right now.
Oh yeah, it's fucked.
Jesus,
it's fucked.
It's terrible. Just kind of the volatility. Actually, let's take a look at the volatility here because I haven't checked the VIX today. Okay, we're sitting around 30 on the VIX, 30.72. 2 minutes till market open, by the way.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey,
good morning.
Hey.
I did find a pretty interesting breakdown of kind of some predictions and stuff for SPY, and a lot of other people seem to be pretty bearish on today as well.
By thorough analysis, I mean a Reddit.
That's what I was thinking as well, looking at the daily bias.
Yeah,
I was like checking their analysis. A lot of things. News sentiment, of course, MAs, VWAPs, supply zones, a ton of things. Just bear with me 1 second here. I'm trying to find my notes.
Good.
And I was looking into some of the some other traders who've made some of these analyses as well and predictions, and was kind of fact checking them just for fun.
Yeah.
And I found myself, looking at what they're saying and seeing and showing, and I was like, these are actually pretty accurate here. And there was like one in particular gave like a 3. There's the market open, but one of them in particular gave a 3 case scenario. We gap back up, run into the 540, fall down slightly, hold near the equity equilibrium zone. The second case would be kind of a sideways day and kind of holding around a 525, which we didn't do that, so we did gap up. And so kind of what we're looking at is a probably seeing a low today of around 529.88 and then bouncing up to a high of like 540 and staying somewhat sideways for the most part, just based on pre-market.
It is also the last day of the week.
That is true.
So it'll probably pump. I don't know.
Not sure.
Sometimes it likes to pump into the weekend, which makes no sense. But
yeah, I think for today we had the best case. I think we had the best case scenario today, which is we kind of trade sideways, maybe make a 540 high and end somewhere around the middle range of like 530, 536. So I think that's what we'll see today.
Nvidia is dropping to the ground.
We could turn around and just absolutely dump. I do want to see Nvidia will fall.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Not that I want to see them fall, but I just want to watch it.
Yeah. Well, no, it's quick.
There's
In like 20 minutes would be a good time for calls.
maybe.
Let's see.
They're like long calls. I mean,
Longer calls. potentially. Oh, I need to check my. I had some puts and stuff I was selling earlier. I kind of want to look into those. Okay.
Yeah, you probably should.
Make sure I don't sell those for too little.
Actually, thanks for reminding me. I gotta look at those too.
I got management. You got to manage your positions.
I mean, this was like a tiny one. You know what? It's only worth. It was like I was extremely out of the money put.
Oh
So
yeah.
I was gonna hold it anyways.
Valid.
All right. So 527.06. In a sell-off here on the 5-minute. Taking a look at the 1-minute. Still in the red a little bit here. Let's watch our 15. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of a longer intraday trade today, to be honest. Trade from the 15-minute today. All right.
So you still
bearish
using
pressure
options with the
coming in.
15-minute? Are you buying like?
No, absolutely still using options on the 15-minute.
So you're buying like longer expiry, like farther out expiry for 15-minute plays?
Like 0 to 2 DTE, probably 1 to 2 DTE if you're going to hold it for like a couple hours. But if it's still an intraday play, so you may hold it for 4 hours or 5 hours or something, but you're still closing it before the end of the market.
Sure. Okay. It's interesting. The I was looking at the intraday bias, and it looks like we just we're filling that quite nicely.
Oh yeah.
On the 15.
Yeah, I do like to wait until the 15-minute the first candle on the 15-minute. Yeah. And use that as kind of like an opening range for the market. You could also do that on the 5-minute. Just depends on your preference. I find that I like the 15-minute because it gives a wider range, but you can mark it on either one.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially at open, like that shit just bounces around everywhere.
Yeah. You can trade the 1-minute charts, and I've done it, and I've had success doing it. But for the most part, I'm looking at the Truth Social post that was just put into the chat. Donald Trump, congratulations, my friends, Governor Greg Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, and Speaker Dustin Burrows for finally passing school choice, which I strongly endorsed. I don't think this has much of an impact on the market.
No, it doesn't.
It's kind of interesting, though. It's our goal to bring education back to all the states. Make America great
Who's
again.
gonna tell him?
Yeah, bubba. Okay. Anyways, that's our first 5-minute candle that has closed. We can use that as a level. A first initial. Oh, charts just froze. I love that.
Oh, tiny FVG. I love seeing that form so early. If this can stay down.
Yeah. Oh no. We're dead, y'all.
On the 1-minute chart?
No.
On 5.
5, okay.
My charts are frozen.
Well, yeah.
Oh, there's my fair value gap. Damn it.
All right, I gotta fix these charts. These charts are not working. Hang on. This is not good.
Every single large option order on Nvidia has been bearish.
I just placed one as
Yeah.
well. That was very bearish. All right.
I saw somebody on Wall Street Bets trying to compare. What was it? They were trying to compare Nvidia to BlackBerry.
Oh, that's interesting.
Craziest comparison ever.
Absurd.
That is actually insane.
They put a chart up and they had the stock prices of both stocks, but the y-axes on like both sides were different scales,
Of course.
and it's just like
Skewed data.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's called, searching for evidence to confirm your bias.
Confirmation.
Someone should come up with a term that describes that, like confirmation
Yeah.
bias or something.
Whoa. That's crazy. Are you a genius?
Not usually. All right. On the 1 minute, we are hitting 30 RSI levels. My puts are up 12% already. Looking at our 5 minute. And looking at our 15. Let's see what we got.
Are you just playing spy puts?
Yeah, at this point I am.
Hmm.
Do want to
Wonder if
get
Sniper's
out of
gonna
these
post
shortly, though.
Yeah.
dude, I don't know if Sniper's gonna post it after the last couple of debacles.
Yeah. Or ever again. Gotta roll with the punches.
All right, and we are out of the market for the day, and we had a gain of like 200.
Nice.
And we used all of our buying power for the day. It was an easy one. We've got one more play, which is a longer call. But yeah, that was just a quick little, initial market open grab, so not bad. For those who didn't hear, we just grabbed some puts.
I'm sorry, who did?
I did. I'm already out of my position though.
Yeah, okay.
I
You guys
held it
stop
for
loss?
about. No. I closed it. It was good.
Profited, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, puts from yesterday. Okay.
No. Puts from this morning.
He bought them. Yeah.
I bought them. I
okay.
just loaded up on them. I got 5 of them, ran with them to like 20%, and then jumped out.
Mm.
I literally, as soon as they opened, they were up like 12% immediately.
Yeah.
I got a really good feel on it. Had an average cost of like 2.8 per contract, and then had an average fill of like 3 something. All right.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for this 15.
Yeah, I didn't even wait for that.
I don't know. I've gotten burned too many times. That
I
market
understand.
open.
I understand. That's why I was taking a quick scalp rather than holding those for a longer period. I intended to do a longer trade today, but it turns out that I didn't get one. Didn't get to do that. All right. Where are we at here? 8:30 candle on the 5-minute chart.
Yeah, what's Weeble at now?
It's at 30, I believe. I checked it earlier today.
Damn.
Okay.
Lightning McQueen's fading.
All right, we are above the morning opening range. Looks like we're about to push above the 200 EMA on the 1 minute.
I was gonna say, if we close here on the 15, this is bullish.
Yeah, this is a very bullish uptick. The only caveat being that we're nearly top, or we're heading towards the top of the RSI already. If it can close above that 200 SMA and then use it as like a level of support, then it'll be a lot stronger of a bull push. But where it stands right now, it's too soon to say. 9 and 21, and we have dropped back below the 200 SMA on the 1 minute. I keep saying SMA. We're using the EMA now, though.
Yeah. What's the difference?
Habits. One's called the exponential moving average. It's a little bit faster to react because it has exponential weights for closer price points. So, for instance, if you have 10, then the 9th one has a little bit less weight, and the first one has a like a 1.5 multiplier on it. So
Interesting. Okay.
It reacts faster. The simple moving average is just the normal average. It's all of the prices divided by how many you have, and that's the plot
Okay,
point.
so then I should probably be switching to EMA.
They're both
I've been
lagging.
using SMA.
It just depends on like a swing trade, or if I'm using like 30-minute charts or a little bit higher time frames, or I'm holding for more than a day, then I actually prefer the simple moving average. If I'm doing like a day trading, you can do two things. You can either make a shorter time frame SMA, or you can make a EMA. So either one works. For instance, here I'm using a 9 and 21, which is a faster SMA. It just so happens to be an EMA right now. We are back into our morning channel of the 5 minute.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna go on puts and see if I can if we can retake that 526.40 level.
Yeah, we're starting to look pretty bearish now. RSI is in a downtrend. We are going into a sell cycle in the 1 minute. Still in a sell cycle on the 5 minute. 15 minute is also in a sell cycle. It's below the 50 RSI. It's hanging out at about 43 and dropping. Overall trend for the day, the 30 minute actually looks like it's about to tip off of a cliff. This might be a really good entry for a longer play, for like a intraday play, to be honest.
For a week out.
Yeah, I wouldn't go further than like 7 days, because then you'll lose.
Yeah.
And if you're going to close it by the end of the day, then I would only go out to like 2 days.
It's more for security. It's on
Sure.
Tesla and their earnings are next Wednesday.
I see.
Oh, beautiful call, by the way.
I mean, I didn't call anything. I just was reading the charts. But the 30 minute is crossing over on the MACD with a lower than 50 RSI, so that's actually
Damn, that's a big
pretty good looking. I'm already up 12%
12%
again.
What is that? 526.40. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
We push to the previous low.
we could see a pretty nice drop here.
Hmm.
Yeah, that early
Yeah, I just bought
pre-market.
one put option because I don't love playing just off of intraday bias. I mean, what's your experience with it?
I like doing them. If I'm going to do it, I'm gonna stick to a time frame. For instance, a 15 minute or a 5 minute. I'm not really gonna look at the 1 minute because the 1 minute will scare you quick.
Mm.
In this case, if you're looking over here at my charts, we're on the 30 minute.
Are you still streaming? It's gone from it.
Oh yeah, I need to add that back in. Hang on.
You're good.
I forgot I closed it out.
Yeah, looking at the buying, you know what? Buying a put for like 1 day out and then just looking at the 5 minute, so much more calming.
Yeah, look at the 30 minute here though.
Mm.
This is a good indicator for like an intraday, which is if you're going to hold for a couple hours. I mean, we're crossing over into a sell-off cycle. We're below the 50 RSI. We're dropping below our opening channel. We are below every single moving average. We've just had a cross of the 50 and 200. We're below the VWAP, below the 9, below the 21. We're in a bearish confirmation on the 9 and 21. I mean, this is about as textbook as you can get for a longer range intraday bear play. And so we'll probably be okay for this, at least for the next, hour or a couple hours. So based on that information, I would probably do like a 2 DTE. In this case, I opened an IW input and immediately was up almost 13%. So just going to hang on to that and see what happens.
You think I should wait for a little push upwards?
You can. A lot of times, if you're going to trade a time frame, you can drop to the next lower time frame. So in this case, if we're trading the 30, we could go to the 15 or the 5 and wait for a push up, enter on that push up, and then just hold for the time frame on your... I hear you. And then just hold for that longer time frame. We are seeing the 1 minute pushes, but if you look at the last
there's
one,
no volume to support.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you look at the last one, we never broke the VWAP, and it was only, look how small it was on the MACD before we crossed right back over. That being said, it could be an indicator of it trying to push higher, because if you see, we are making a little bit of a higher low. So once again, this could be a more optimal entry depending on how the rest of the day goes. For instance, if we're trading like the 15 or the 5. But I'm not going to make a call. I don't make those trade calls. That's Sniper's job, not mine. I'm just here to analyze and tell you what the charts are doing right now. And I will trade my own positions and stuff live, but I'm not calling for anyone else. Okay. We are seeing a little bit of an uptrend on the RSI. This doesn't look too bullish yet, but what I'm hoping to see is that this breaks below the MACD 0 line. So we'll see what happens. We are pushing past the VWAP on the 15 minute now.
Yeah.
Depending on how it goes, this could be a pretty strong reversal. Let's look at our 30 minutes. We are starting to go up on the 30 minute as well. We still are in negative momentum here. Let's kind of change the time frame here so I can see what's going on. Okay.
Got a fair value gap forming. Okay, it's already formed.
Yeah.
All right.
On the 1 minute.
Let's open back up our 15. Have we hit the 15? We have. All right. Now I am going to make the 15-minute channel as well, just so we can watch and see where that is. It'll be right here. Ooh, the 15 was worse than the 5. That's interesting. These two outer ones is the 5 minute. The inner ones here is the 15.
Mhm.
See how much smaller of a channel it is on the 15 than it is on the 5?
Yeah.
That's actually crazy. Okay, now we have a strong push upwards here on the 15. Push in a little bit closer on, check the 1. All right, we are above our channels now. We do have a crossover of the EMAs. We are above the 200 now. And if you'll notice, we dropped back down below the 200, bounced off of it, and are now heading back up. So it looks like that's going to be a support level at the 528. Go into a higher time frame on the 5. Let's see what we have here. Above the 50 RSI, bullish confirmation coming in on the MACD. We are still below the 200 SMA, but we have pushed past it on the 1 minute chart. This is starting to look more like a little bit of a more bullish. The only thing I don't like about it is that we still haven't pushed past this 0 line here on the MACD.
Mhm.
Also going out to our higher time frames. The second thing would be that we still have a somewhat of a bearish tilt to the trend lines on the higher time frames. But we are starting to see some changes on those shorter SMAs or EMAs. So we'll have to see if that follows through with that and changes these other longer moving averages, which could change our overall trend for the day. This is pretty even and flat on the 30. But we have had a positive trend on the overnight. The biggest thing when it comes to technical analysis is honestly the greater confluence. So confluence is basically when multiple indicators support the same theory.
Yeah.
So you have to look at all the different indicators and figure out which has the strongest evidence for it. And you can fall into kind of a confirmation bias. I know we were joking about it earlier, but seriously, you can fall into a confirmation bias if you think, hey, it's bearish, or hey, it's bullish, and you start looking for the bearish or bullish indicators to support that.
Yeah.
But generally the best thing to do is figure out what the long-term trend is and trade with the trend until that trend changes. And so right now what we're seeing on the higher time frames is a little bit of a flatter trend. We did have a positive trend on the overnight, but right now it's kind of flat. It did have a bearish tilt, but we are starting to see those shorter time frame EMAs tilt up a little bit, which a lot of people just look for the crosses on them, but you can also, since this smooths out price action, you can also look at the direction they're pointing. So right now they're a little sideways, but starting to point up, which could change our outlook on the shorter time frames as well. So that means if you entered those puts, which I did earlier and I'm already out of, you take your profit and call it a good trade and move on and look for the next setup. But it looks like our next setups are going to start being bullish.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at the same thing. I mean, it still looks like overall we, like looking at the 5 minute, it looks like we're still, if we don't push past here, it looks like we're still making lower highs.
Yeah, on the 5 minute for sure. We haven't pushed past that 200 EMA. and we're bouncing against it right now. We did wick past it. The second candle that, if you're looking at the screen here, the 855, it has yet to push past it or even wick past it. And so that is, and it is looking kind of bearish on the 5 minute too. But with our overall trend kind of being neutral, we could see a lot of chop on the 5 minute before having a solid breakout in any direction.
Yeah.
Look at the 1 minute here.
I mean, it's also interesting if the 15-minute closes below where it is now. That's definitely bearish as well.
I think one of the most important things to note right now is with the volume and price action where we are right now. It is having two separate conflicting indicators. The VWAP is showing bullish, whereas we're kind of bouncing back and forth between EMAs on the 200, and it looks like we're now attacking the 9. Depending on if it can bounce off that VWAP or if it falls through, that's what's going to determine the next shorter trend.
28 support.
All right, looks like so far we're bouncing off the VWAP.
Yeah. If it breaks through this level, I'll probably buy puts. But it's looking like it's
do
hard.
that.
Just like a short, like quick scalp.
Yeah. All right, strong downward pressure there. But we're starting to enter a buy cycle on the 5 minute. Looked like we hit a double bottom there if you look at the 1 minute.
Let me see. Where are you talking about?
Around probably like 8:45 and 8:50.
You mean 9:45?
Are you in Eastern?
Oh, true. Yeah, you're right. We got you in Central Time.
I am in Central.
Okay, looks like we got to close above.
Yeah, it's still below the 200 on the 5 minute though. Although the 9 and 21, which is a good indicator of shorter day or shorter time frames, is about to close. RSI is tipping against it though. It's very, very against it. It's very range bound right now. Between like 528 and about 529.12, so very much.
Yeah, just can't bounce off of that. Just can't break through that 528.
Yeah, that 527.97 is where the VWAP is.
VWAP.
Volume weighted average price. Volume weighted average price. It's an indicator used by institutions. Basically, it takes the price, smooths the price, and then also gives it a weight according to the volume that was bought at certain prices. Generally, how you use it is pricing above the VWAP is bullish, but can also indicate overbought. Pricing below the VWAP is more bearish, but could also indicate a oversold. So you use it you use it with other indicators to kind of help you build confluence. So if something is indicating oversold, like the RSI, and it's below the VWAP, it'd be a good time to buy. If it's indicating like a 90 or 80 RSI and it's below the VWAP, that'd be a very bearish confluence, and you could buy puts. So just depending on what other indicators you use, it'll help you get a better picture of what's going on. In this case,
I appreciate the explanation.
Yeah, in this case, we're sitting at like a 54 RSI. So we're above middle, we're above the VWAP. So this is kind of a pretty strong bullish position. Also, we're crossing on the 9 and 21. So still looking pretty bullish. If we hang out below that 200 and we can't push past it, and our RSI starts to drop, and as I'm speaking, it's doing this right now. It's starting to drop. It's down at the 52. But if it starts to drop and it uncrosses the 9 and 21, then we have two choices or two options. It'll either bounce off the VWAP again, or if it falls through the VWAP and we are still around that 50 RSI in a downward trend, that would be a bearish confirmation or confluence.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking it's interesting because if you look at the VWAP and the fair value gap, they line up almost exactly.
Yeah, and one of the cool
things that's pretty strong.
Yeah, one of the cool things about indicators are, like, if you look at Fibonacci, the Fibonacci levels or the Fibonacci bands. If you look at Bollinger Bands, if we look at moving averages, if you look at the VWAP, the MACD, the RSI, all these are different indicators, and they're different ways of processing the exact same data. And for people who use those particular indicators versus others, they may be more comfortable with them, but generally they're going to come up with about the same they're going to see the same thing on price action. Right now we are falling on the RSI 47.88, and we are pushing up against that VWAP. Depending if we can push past it in the bearish direction, this could be another reversal area on the 5. Well, reversal area.
Yeah.
We haven't had a strong move yet. Although we are above the opening channel.
Which line on your screen is the VWAP?
Purple, it's the bottom. And generally, if it wicks through like this, what we're waiting for is it to close below. Because the wick is fine, but the close is the stronger confirmation.
Yeah, that bounce is crazy.
And we are starting to close on that 9 and 21. That's a bullish confirmation here, as well as a bounce from that VWAP. Trend is starting to look up a little bit.
I mean, it looks like we're consolidating within this upper range.
The biggest thing is if we can push past that 200 SMA on the 5-minute.
EMA?
Yes, EMA.
It's messing with you.
That's all right. We're looking at a triple moving average crossover in a minute, or I say minute, in a couple of minutes, if this continues. RSI is starting to fall again.
I mean, if you look at 15-minute bias, we really should be seeing a push to. I guess we did see a push to it. It just doesn't show up on the 15-minute chart. The 529, 28. Like the upper range of the last 15-minute candle. From the videos I've seen of intraday bias, we were looking for a test of 529.28, and it looks like that's exactly what we got. I just couldn't see it on the 15-minute chart. You have to zoom in.
Yeah, it hit a 529.16 at least.
Yeah.
On the 15. All right. It's interesting that 200 EMA is acting as a really, really strong resistance level for the 5-minute.
Yeah. It's range bound between these two different
Yeah.
indicators.
VWAP and 200. And
Oh.
strong downward pressure.
Damn, it still can't break through. Even off of that much volume.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Strong. It's strong word downward movement. It is below the VWAP now. If it can close this, which we have 2 minutes, 3 minutes on the candle. So it might not, but it is showing significant downward pressure right now. And we're back in the 15 and the 5 minutes. Now starting a push past that 15 minute.
Yep.
Past the 5 minute. Those
There you go.
puts.
I got it on puts.
Okay. Yeah, this is actually showing some good downward pressure. We're below the 0 line. We're crossing over into a bearish confirmation on the MACD on the 5 minute. So you might have a decent little run here. Probably only going to be a couple candles though, so I would
I'm
take profits
actually
early.
going to take profits here. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Easy. I think it was like $200 scalp. Not bad.
Very nice. I think there's a little more as far as
I think there
downward
is,
pressure.
but I want us to see like to bounce off of that VWAP again.
Personally, I want to see it close. I want to see a candle close on that. Not looking at the 1 minute though. Let's see what the 1 minute has to say. Okay, starting an upward trend on the 1 minute. And well within that 5 minute range again.
Yeah.
And there's the downward pressure. That would be the entry, I think. That green candle, I think, would be my entry.
Yeah, I just got a order fill.
Nice. Okay,
Right.
I'm up
Letting it run for a little
4%.
bit, and I'm out.
8%.
Good,
See what we got.
nice scalp. All right, easy 500 gain. Fuck yeah.
All right, I'm
Beautiful
just gonna let
call
this sit. Let this sit. We're at about 8% gain right now.
Yeah, I'm sitting at like 3.6 on my portfolio.
Nice.
But I also was down off of that bad put earlier in the morning. But I appreciate the call out. That was beautiful.
I'm hanging on to this one for a little bit. I'm still up 4%. We're gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Should look on the 1 minute for an exit though. Okay. Yeah.
I shouldn't be.
Should
I
probably
shouldn't
take
be looking
profits
at the
this
5
time.
minute. Yeah.
It's time to take those profits.
Attendees.
Take them. And honestly, when we're doing scalps like that, best case scenarios is like 5%. 5% scalps. You can get those pretty consistently. It's when you try to hold out for like a 20% or something longer. I like to do like 3 contracts and then close 1 or 2 at short, 5 or 10%, and then let 1 run. Or if we're in a longer time frame, we'll do something maybe like a 20% and a 50%, and then let 1 run.
Yeah, I was looking. I've been trying to get into TradingView to like look at risk management because I love the tools that they have where you can spread it out and get like, I'm going to take a 10% loss, I'm going to take a 20% gain. I'll have, like this percentage. I have a history of getting this percentage of trades right, so in the long term, I'll be profitable.
Sure. Trading journals.
Yeah.
There's
I've been
apps
trying
that
to like.
you can do that with.
What's it called?
Trading journals. It's not the
literally
name
just
of an app.
okay.
You can just, there's a lot of different trading journal apps, or you could just go old school and use like an Excel spreadsheet. I've done
Yeah,
both.
I've been taking notes on just like a Google Docs on ICT trades or TT trades. Sorry. So I've really been trying to learn, to read up on it.
Zero DTE options have the highest have like the biggest daily moves. Like you can make a ton or you can lose a ton on zero DTE, and that's kind of one of the things. But to be honest, they're one of the harder options to trade consistently and be profitable. It's a lot better to do longer time frames, and it's even better to do like theta plays, which is selling options.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever sold any options?
I have not sold any options. That's something I've definitely been looking at, but I don't know.
I recommend it. I love it.
Yeah, I just like, I don't know. I have to do more research. I understand the basic concepts, but like, I wouldn't be comfortable with it. You know what I mean? I feel like, because I feel like I don't understand it enough. That's what it is.
Yeah, I understand that. I was kind of the same way, and then after studying them for about 4 years and stuff, and then trading them for a couple years, I really love them now. That's probably one of my favorite plays, and one of my most consistently profitable type of a play.
So when you sell an option, you collect the contract value on it.
Yeah, up front.
And yeah, but so how does it work upon expiry?
So upon the expiration date, basically theta has completely taken over, and if it's above, well, it just depends on what option you sold, but basically if it's out of the money, that option contract goes to $0. And you've already got the money up front, so nobody's going to assign it or I mean, you just keep the money and you go to the next option. That's it.
Isn't it to where, like, if it expires in the money, you don't keep it?
No, you keep it. You keep it, but you have assignment risk at that point. And if you get assigned, basically, I think it's OCC, which is the Options Control Commission, or what is I forget what the actual acronym is. It's OCC though. Basically, there's a pool of options from all these different brokerages. Someone says, "Hey, I'm assigned." That broker sends that to OCC. OCC reaches into this pile of puts, pulls one out, and says, "Hey, username da 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 da, you have been assigned." And so that random person has to pay for 100 shares or sell, depending on what option it is, has to buy or sell 100 shares of that. So imagine you were doing a call. You saw a call option. If someone calls, you have to sell your 100 shares. If you don't have 100 shares, you have to buy 100 shares and then sell them at the strike price.
Okay.
On the put,
so, yeah,
vice versa.
Lose money there.
I mean, yes and no. There's ways to get around that. Number one, don't hold it to close. That'll prevent you from being assigned at closed. And then number two, you could trade like SPX or another European style index options. Basically, those have no early assignment, so you have no risk if you hold those and sell them before expiration. Three,
if you sell an go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah. So three is you could sell options that you can afford 100 shares of. So if you're gonna do those, you could do something like a $200. Like a $2 option where you can 100 shares is $200. You sell one option on it. And at that point, if you get assigned, the worst thing that happens is you either buy 100 shares or you sell 100 shares of it. So it's not really a big risk if you can afford that. You don't have to use any margin or anything.
Mhm.
And so there's it's not. Go ahead.
What's the European version of it?
The inversion of what?
He
Index
said the
fund.
European.
Version of what you said, the index fund.
SPX or XSP.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are European style, and they're cash secured, meaning out on expiry, those are automatically. Those funds are automatically. You don't actually have to buy the shares; they're automatically just settled, which is interesting. But
yeah. So
again,
what's the potential to lose money there?
Okay, the potential to lose money is you sell something, you get paid up front, and then the value of that item increases more than what you sold it for, and so there's opportunity loss there. The cool thing is, if it's still not expired, that opportunity lost isn't solidified until expiry. So,
okay. So yeah,
it just depends. But basically,
that definitely makes sense.
But basically, to close your position, you would have to buy it back or let it expire. You have two choices. So if it increases in price, you may have to pay money to close it. At that point, you still keep the credit, but you have to pay probably back all of the credit plus a little extra. So what you can do to mitigate risk there is that you set a stop loss at your credit collected. So say you collect $30 on an option contract, you set your stop loss at negative $30 because then you can buy it back and close it at break even minus commissions.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Level 3 plays are absolutely where it's at. And one of the cool thing is, let me just show you an example on SPY right now.
Sure.
You could find a level. Well, here, I could just show you right here. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got 0 DTE options pulled up right here. I know that SPY has an expected move today based on the implied volatility of $4.83. It's currently sitting at 526, so somewhere right around here. I can go out 4, which is about a 72 delta here and a 30 delta over here. And I can sell that option, and I can buy, I can buy like this option here. My max loss is $163. Max profit is $36 in one day for one set of contracts. If we go and look at the analysis, this is kind of the issue, or this is kind of the breakdown of it. If the price of SPY stays above this break-even point, so anywhere over here, I will make the maximum profit. If it drops to like right here at near the break-even, I could make a partial amount of the max profit. And if it goes down to here, I could make the max loss, which doesn't change. So it's a defined risk. I know how much I could potentially lose up front.
I like that.
I know how much I
could
win.
Low probability it's going to hit under what, 520 today? Is that 530?
But here's the thing too, like if I don't like this kind of risk level, which this is a 0.25 or a 25 delta, I can take this back to like a 10 delta. At this point, I make less money, but it's probably not going to hit, The probability of this trade is 86% probability of profitability. So 86% of the time, this trade's going to hit.
Well, can you look at the analysis? I want to see what it looks like for that.
For this one, we're going to make $20 today. Here's the curve. Same thing. As long as it stays, let's zoom in. As long as it stays at 526 and doesn't cross 519 and change, I will make $20, $22 for every set, and I only risk 178.
That's interesting.
With almost a 90% chance that this is going to hit.
Yeah.
So here's how I like to do it. I'll just kind of show you my thing. First of all, I like to take a step back and I want to figure out like the weekly trend.
Mhm.
All right, so looking at the weekly trend here, I mean, we've had a very bearish trend.
Yeah.
As of late, the most recent has been bearish. So at that point, what I want to do is I want to sell calls, and I want to sell them higher. You kind of want to stay with the trend. We're entering into another sell-off area. I'm seeing our weekly high of 544. So what I can do is I can say, okay, oops, go to my tables, and I'm going to clear this out. And I want to sell calls, not puts at this point. If I'm expecting it to go down, I'm selling calls. Oops. Let's see. And I'll go out to, here's some 10 delta or 11 deltas. I could sell these. And you can do like a $2 spread. $184, you make 15. You could sell like maybe 5 or so. And you can sell these every day. You can close them at like 20% gain or 40% gain before they expire. And so what happens is if it drops, you instantly make that money. You buy them back for a discount and you're out of your trade and you've made a profit for the day. If you decide to hold them to expiration and the price stays below whatever these are, you win the full amount, and it's just super easy. And those are called credit spreads. You get paid up front. As long as the price stays away from your legs, you get paid.
Okay, yeah, that I've heard credit spreads before. I just didn't know what it looked like in
an
reality.
An iron condor, a very similar trade. It's literally the exact same thing. It's just on both sides. You have a credit spread on the call side, a credit spread on the put side. So you could do like let's see, a 10 delta. We don't have a 10 delta, so I'm going to choose this 15. Basically, I'm going to do that right there. And I'm just going to do the same thing on the 10 delta over here. So 10 delta here.
What is delta again, Chad?
Say again.
What is delta again?
So delta is the amount that the premium is going to change according to $1 move of the strike price. So at the 516, it's 33. If it goes $1 up or $1 down, it'll move by 9 cents per contract.
Chad, I've heard someone explain it that it's like the relative percentage of the contract expiring in the money. Is that something?
Yes. So because it's well, here's the thing. Delta can be influenced by implied volatility. Okay. Which is another Greek. I think it's gamma. I may be wrong on that. I'm trying to think. Is that gamma? Somebody fact check me real quick. So based on that, when you enter a contract, whatever the delta is at that moment in time is the percentage that it expires if the price remains at the same level it is at that moment in time. So yes, delta can change as the price moves up and down, but when you open it or when you close it, whatever the delta is the percentage that it expires in or out of the money. At this point, we have opened 2 spread, or we haven't opened them, but we are setting up to open 2 spreads, credit spreads on either side. This is called an iron condor, and 76% chance of profit. And here's kind of what that looks like.
They aren't the same, but they influence each other pretty proportionally, it looks like.
No, okay. Gamma. So anyways, here we go. So at this point, as long as by the end of the day, SPY is between these 2 numbers, we make maximum profit, which at this point is, it's only $20 for this spread. Our max loss is $80. But that's kind of that's an iron condor for you.
Interesting. Yeah, appreciate it.
I do want to show one thing because a lot of people freak out about this, and this isn't something that I've seen anyone talk about. Actually, let me show you here because this is going to be a little bit more clear. Just give me a second.
Hey, this is all good information. Thank you, Chad.
Not a problem. Can you guys see the screen here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is a free website. I love this website. Super helpful information. You can buy a subscription to it. I'm not affiliated and I don't recommend it because you've got everything you need up front. Things like flow, which is option orders. You can even do a live one, which you can see them as they come in. It is a slight delay, but you can see what people are buying. You can see how much they're spending on it. But here's what I want to show you guys is your calculators. All right, so we did actually let's build a iron condor. Let me see what we had. We had a 516, 517. Okay. $516, $517, and the other one was $533, $534.
What the fuck is that? Big down.
Okay. Let me zoom out. Okay. So this is the trade I just showed you guys in the brokerage account. And you can see kind of where it is. This is at expiration. This is what it would look like at expiration. Now here's what people don't tell you. This is what it looks like before expiration. So when you first open it. And so you can be down, let's do a percentage. You can be down 82% on your contract right after opening it and still be at 100% profit at expiration. And so a lot of people will see negative 82% and freak out. They'll close this and they'll lose 82% of that, or they'll lose a large portion of their initial investment. And so it's super important to understand how these work with time, because as you can see, as time passes on, you make more and more of that. If you don't know this, you will be in the red a lot of the time while still at max profit. Same thing if you have a credit spread. So remove. This is a credit spread on the call side. It is a bearish. And here's the other thing. Calls are bearish if you're doing credit spreads. If you're selling, calls are bearish. Puts are bullish. It flip-flops. So, like I said, same thing here. You have your break even at 527.85 when your actual break even at expiration is 532. You could be here and down negative 50%. When it expires, you'd be at 100%. So a lot of people will see, oh, it's at 0%, but what they don't understand is you have to be at negative 200% generally in order to, let me explain. So on this, the negative 471% is calculated based on 100% of your profit. So, so it's a skewed number. So 17.50, 400% would be 8250, right? This is 100. And so there's some brokers calculate this different and display it different. So for instance, Robinhood might display this as negative 200, whereas Tasty Trade might display it as this right here is negative 50. This one is negative 100. And so you need to understand that there's a defined risk. It's a curve until expiration. It's a curve. So you can be in the negative, and you need to understand what your break even is at expiration, so you can calculate the proper cutoff or rolling. So these are things you can roll to. If it doesn't hit here and you're heading towards expiration, you go out to the next and you can roll it up a couple of strikes. And you might pay, $20, but you can make it a higher probability trade. Or if you don't want to pay anything at all, just go up high enough and out farther enough that you make your money completely back and even get additional credit. I feel like
interesting.
I feel like that
Don't
needs
mean to
a yeah. Go ahead.
Just want to say the market's on a giant sell-off since we took this tangent.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say
Interesting.
maybe take a look at the market.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay.
It's not looking too great.
Well, it's probably looking good for my put though. I did let
Oh
one
yeah,
run.
probably.
Let's see what we're at. Hold on.
probably looking great
Oh,
for the put.
52% up.
amazing. For
It's
sure.
52% up right now. That's amazing.
Nice.
Should have kept out more of them. Just kidding. I won't do FOMO. I'm not doing FOMO live on stream. I've got one in there. So we're good. All right. Jumping
RSI
back.
is way oversold.
What time frame?
1 minute.
1 minute.
Yeah, just the 1 minute. I mean, we're a little bit oversold in the 5 minute as well.
I mean, on the 5 minute, we're just hitting that 30. Looking at the 15 minute, we've got starting to flatten out on the RSI. I was about to say it could see a potential downshift. Still very bullish, or bearish on the 30 minute. We just hit that 30 minute. Remember earlier when I told you guys we were setting up for a dump on the 30 minute? We were below the 50 RSI and it was about to cross over into a sell-off cycle. Looks like that's what we hit.
Yeah.
So, which is also why I was letting that put ride, because I saw that showing up on the 30 and I was hoping it was I was hoping it would hit. At this point, I'm probably going to let this ride until I might let this ride till a little bit later in the day. My put.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we have liquidity zones at like 520, so there's definitely more downside available.
Anyways, what's everyone listening to chat about? He make any plays today?
Nvidia might drop below $100 again.
Well, I mean, didn't you hear? We've been talking about Nvidia's pretty much BlackBerry. They're going to go to zero in the next year.
Oh
or
yeah,
two.
wow.
I can buy my $5 puts for a year out.
Generational wealth.
I don't know why I'm referring to myself in the third person.
I'd be like a what would you call that play? What was that one guy that it was like Joe Barry? The guy that predicted the housing market crash.
Yeah, that's some big short stuff right there.
Yeah. That'd be one of his plays.
Anyways, any questions on the spreads?
No, I think you explained that pretty well. I'm definitely going to take a deeper look into those.
I would. They're amazing. Your credit spreads
The
on
problem
literally
is I only
anything
got,
in
like,
a.
I've only got like 15 grand, so I can't do options.
Don't
Like
say
I
that.
need a margin account to do level 3.
That is true. You do need a margin account. I recommend people having a margin account and a cash account. But don't say you can't do it, because I will show you something. I have sold credit spreads on SPY with a $30 option account. All the time.
Oh yeah, you can. I was just talking about the day trade limit.
Yeah, I mean, so you can only do like what, 3 a week or so. Like right here, this right here costs $60 in collateral. To open this, you could make $38. If you're really crazy, you could do this and do an out of the money 0 DTE put credit spread, which is insane, but you could.
Yeah, that's wild.
I saw a dude who used to trade 70 delta call credit spreads in a bear market, which
Jesus.
Look at this. He could use $23 and make max profit 75, and he would buy like I don't know, 10 of these or something. So he'd be making like $770 or $750 and spending and holding $230 in collateral. And the cool thing is, if those hit, if the market goes down past 520 or past whatever his break even is, I mean, he just spent $23 to make almost 100. So
yeah, true.
I don't recommend doing that because there is early assignment risk since you're buying 0 DTE out of the money options, or you're selling them. I'm sorry. Way to get around this is SPX. I don't recommend trading SPX on a small account unless you have between 5 to 10,000 is when you can start doing trade or the spreads on this. Before that, you can get away with it. I'll just give you an example. Collateral for this is about $635. If you have a $1,000 account and you're trading that, you have one trade in the money. You can make good money, 365 on 0 DTE, but you have one trade on a small account.
Yeah.
And it's also a 40 delta, which is not ideal. You kind of want to, on these, especially in this type of market, you kind of want to go between 15 and 20. So something like this right here, which at that point you have an 845 max loss and a 155 max profit. Just things to consider. I will say, using credit spreads, I took an account from $30 to like $1,600 in a month.
Nice.
Let's see. I'm trying to find. There's an article I wrote about it on my website. Let's see.
So, what are your brokerage rates?
What do you mean?
Like, what do you? I was just making a joke because you turned.
Oh yeah. I don't do that. I actually have considered getting my Series 7, my Series 11, 66 or whatever, and starting a brokerage. But honestly, it just sounds like a bunch of work, and I'd be responsible for other people's money, and I don't really want to do that. I just enjoy and trade my own stuff, doing my own thing. Yeah. But I do write about some of the things I try and experiment with. Let's see. Let's see if I can find that $30 options. Here is an interesting. Posting it in the.
I would take a look at your put.
Oh, I don't care. I don't know what's going on. It's up 64%. I'm not really watching it.
I was gonna say maybe it's a good time to sell.
Let me see. I intended to hold something longer. Let's see where we are.
Every indicator we're hitting screams oversold, but I don't know.
Yeah, I was trading that one on the 30, so we'll see what happens here. And go to SPY. I'm in the wrong. There we go. All right. No, we still got some downtime on the 30-minute.
For how long do you think?
We just entered the sell-off cycle at 9. So yeah. I would say at least the next hour. Probably when we hit low volatility, we'll either turn around or it'll cause it to swing even further down. So not super worried about it.
Makes sense.
Like I said, I'm honestly not even watching it at all. But I did post in the journal chat kind of a breakdown I did about a $30 options account where I used this and then butterfly spreads to basically use $30 in cash to generate option strategies, then took 30% of every bit of profit that I made from those options into dividend ETFs, and then also a $1 daily investment from my $30 in cash initial into stable growth stocks, SPY, things like that. And from that, basically I had a perpetual motion machine where I was making $30 in dividends back every year, while also being able to use while also growing like an actual investment portfolio with it. It was kind of interesting. So yeah, it was super neat. I actually went to let's see, at this point when this article was written, I was at $409 total portfolio value from a $30 account. I had $237.24 in stable investment stocks, $36 in crypto, and then $135 that I was day trading from an initial. Yeah, that I was day trading every single day from an initial deposit of $30.
Nice.
And it looks like this was probably only like halfway through, because I think there was some additional. Things. Yeah, and basically I was doing it in a margin account, and I was doing 3 out of 3 day trades every 5 days. And yeah, we were chilling.
Nice.
Just trading indexes, because people were like, "How do you trade SPY with $30?" And I was like, "No, you can do it." And they're like, "No, you can't." So I started doing it every single year to prove them wrong.
That's always the best.
Yeah.
Like when someone tells me I can't do something.
So, oh yeah. Well, here, let me make an article online and prove that I can. And then that's actually kind of how Free the Trade got started. Was doing things like that. Let me see if I can find any more. As of, let's see, as of my last update, we were at 681. No, that wasn't the last one. Where's the last one? I'm not seeing it.
Massive green candle on SPY.
Okay, there was an update on 3/05/2025. Oh yeah, it was over 1,000. I think this was one of my last updated it. I think. See if I can find any other updates on it that were later than that. I don't know. Oh well. All right, let's take a look at what's going on in the markets.
Yeah, I'm doing a quiz right now that my teacher assigned to be due at 11 a.m. today, which is
what, 15 minutes, 16 minutes?
Yeah, that's all right. ChatGPT's got me.
Oh man, that's terrible.
I don't even have to read the questions. Nah, this is a communications class. It is not important.
I kind of wish I'd bought in NVIDIA when it was at like 85, but I didn't have buying power free. It's too busy trading. Might as well. All right. I did just close my put though. Not bad.
Were you in the money?
I was well within the money. Closed it for profit. Do you know of a tax calculator? In the
I just don't pay them. It usually works for me.
Man, I just use like Free Tax USA to file my taxes. And I just use like a I use a certain method that is I'm not going to tell you guys how I do my taxes. I do them. I do them. I do them. I file my taxes every single year.
Yeah, okay.
I really do. I do. I file my taxes. Okay, generally 9:45 is a pullback period in the market. At least CST. Dude, where's Dadu? Did he like die or something?
I don't know. I mean,
I will
he's not here today.
I will say this. Oh man, I feel bad about this. So when I was in college, you know how everyone goes on and on about, oh, if they're 15 minutes late, we don't have to go to class, right?
Yeah.
So I pulled up to class one day and I was lagging behind. I was like 10 or 11 minutes late to class. And so I was pleasantly surprised to find out that, yo, Chad, I'm gonna check this out. Cool. I was pleasantly surprised to find out the teacher hadn't arrived, right? So I was like, and so we're sitting there, and you know, we start fooling around or whatever, and we're like, okay,
yeah,
is it 15 minutes yet? And we're counting down and stuff, and I opened my mouth and I was like, man, would it kill him to be early to class or to be on time? Because I was just being stupid and joking.
And that's exactly when he walked in.
No. I said that 15 minutes hit and we all leave. We show up the next day and we're still waiting there. And like the dean walks up and is like, hey, everybody, come in and sit down. Your teacher passed away on the golf course last week.
Oh, what?
He had a heart attack. He was playing golf, had a heart attack, and yeah, we're going to try to figure out what to do for this class. And I was sitting there like, wow, the last thing I said about that dude on the day he passed was, would it kill him to show up to class? I felt so bad. It was terrible.
Oh god,
it was terrible. So
that's rough.
So that's why I was. I guess I probably shouldn't say that about Dadu too. Send him a message. Hey, you good? You good, Dadu? Oh, wait, I did not mean to reply to someone's message. Hop in, ask questions.
Yeah, I have way too many tabs open right now.
Okay. Okay. Okay, we are starting to see a little bit of a uptrend starting on the 30-minute. Wait, no, hang on. We're on the 5-minute. Let me go back to the 30-minute. Yeah, still a downtrend on the 30-minute. 5-minute is starting to see a slight uptrend on the MACD indicators. Still very much under the zero line, but we are starting to see decreasing volume in the sell histogram. So we could potentially start seeing a bullish push on the 5 minute, which actually coincides with the time period and stuff. We usually see a pullback. Can you give me an example of how you would use that as opposed to just buying calls and puts? Yes. Asma, let's see, is he in here? I want to make sure he's in here. He's not in here. I'm trying to wrap my head around how you build a strat when you buy. Okay. This is my attempt. 199. Okay, yeah, so is this guy in here?
Not quite sure.
I'm just going to talk through this and type it out too. Basically, to answer this question, you want to play it the exact opposite of how you would play buying calls and puts, because you're selling. So you don't want to get the lowest price. You want to get the highest price. And so what you want is increased volatility. Yes, tell him to join the join if you can. If not, I will type this out and answer the question, but I'm lazy, so.
Just heads up, I'm gonna hop off for the day. Guess I'll see you Monday then.
Sounds good. I should be here Monday.
Peace.
Okay, I am going to type this out, but I'm going to answer it in voice chat too before I type it out. Basically, when you're selling credit spreads, you want to get the highest possible price, and you want to do it at a period of the highest volatility, because there's something called IV crush, or implied volatility crush, and basically implied volatility increases option premiums. So if you can get a high volatility period and sell an option when it's the most expensive it'll ever be, and then volatility falls off, you make 20% of your returns right there with just the IV crush. Then you let theta decay take over and you make even more, so that you buy it back, at a fraction of what you sold it for. And that's kind of how they work. With increased volatility, you do have an increased swing in prices, so you do need to price out farther. It does play against you a little bit by having to price out further, because you make less return. But with the increased volatility, it also ups option prices. So it's kind of this give and take. And you just have to look at the different strike prices to see what gives you the most value. I usually do a lot of math to calculate what's giving me the best return on my investment. An easy way to do this would be to use the optionstrat.com website. You can find very easily what the most capital efficient strategy for that play is, or you can do the math manually. I've done both, and I find like option strat's pretty decent. So let me answer this in chat real quick. So I'm gonna go silent for a second. Okay, hopefully that helps. All right, I'm back. Hopefully that helps him out. On the 5 minute, we are going into a buy cycle again. Still pretty low on the RSI, so we could see a continuation of the bear trend that we're currently in. But we are at a decision point, so either it will go down or will go up. I know that sounds confusing, but we are, like I said, we're seeing less selling volume coming in, but we still are in a general bearish trend. We have negative momentum. RSI is tilted a little bit down, but that's still yet remains to be seen if we're going to continue this sell-off here. But that's kind of the update on the 5 minute. Looking at the 1 minute, if you're scalping, let's see what's going on here. We are ending a buy period. This could be actually potentially pretty bearish and continue that 5 minute trend in the sell-offs. The question is, the infinite losses thing can be offset by buying the contracts you sell, right? If you're selling spreads, you're always selling the more expensive spread and buying the cheaper spread. This acts as a hedge and it allows you to define the risk and maximum loss at the opening of the trade. Sorry, I was typing and talking at the same time. That's why I sounded a little disjointed.
So basically, if you're using Robinhood and you do a spread, and one of your legs gets exercised, Robinhood would automatically exercise your other leg to give the shares, or just so you would have a major deficit, like it'll say 100,000, but
yes,
that'll go
yes.
away once it exercises.
Yes, you will lose your max loss amount. But Robinhood has a risk management team. If an account, especially in a smaller account that has less than $2,000, because they're not allowed to give you margin, basically what happens is Robinhood will buy the shares on margin for you. Hang on, let me mute this guy. Buy the shares on margin for you, and then they will exercise the opposite position that you have. Now, I will say that you need to buy them in the same trade. You can't just buy a put and sell a put. Yeah. They have to be in the same trade, so you buy and sell at the same time. What he was showing, what Asma Slayer was showing us, was a good example of this. As far as this is he sold the 100 and he bought the 99 put. I think is what this is showing us. It looks like he got an average credit of about 29 cents a contract, or a total of $30. Let me see how NVIDIA. See if I can demonstrate this to you guys here. But the actual, his is 417, which is 0 DTE. So he probably sold something like that right there, which with a max profit about $37. He's risking a total of about $63. If we want to analyze his trade, he's at a 45 delta. I will say his delta is really close, which means his profitability is lower, which is about 57%. He's delta positive by 14%. I would say 14.71 delta positive. This is what his trade looks like. Okay, we'll zoom in on this so we can see. Currently, he's at max profit. Let me see if I can change this to the theoretical. Okay. No. Okay. So yeah, he is currently about max profit as long as NVIDIA stays above his break even, which is the exact break even is $99.62. So as long as Nvidia is above that, he's making some profit. If it stays above 100, he makes 100% profit. If he sticks into this, at the end of the day, basically what happens, Robinhood will go through and say probably about 2:45 to 3 o'clock. So somewhere between 2:45 and 3:30, Robinhood goes through and they close out all the 0 DTA options that cannot be exercised because they don't have money in the account. And so whatever time frame that is, there'll probably be like $5 left on the table for this option, maybe less, and Robinhood will close both of them, and you will be left with $33 that you won or made from that trade. Now, if the price drops below, if you're not at max, whatever you're at here, they will trade the one option for whatever it's worth, and then the second option will actually have more value. So he bought a put, so that put will have some value to it, and so he'll lose whatever the difference in the value of that put is from what it was worth when he bought it and what it is worth when it expires. If that's not much, then he could still make some. If it's more, then he'll lose a little bit. And if it's past the break even down here, which is $99, he will lose the max amount, which would be $63. So those are the outcomes. He'll either make a little bit of a profit, lose a little bit if it's above the bottom leg. If he goes below the bottom leg, so below the 99, he'll lose all of his initial investment. He'll keep the credit, but he'll lose that initial. And because he'll be paying some of that credit back, he'll be paying about $63 minus the 37. He'll lose about $34 on that trade. Those are the outcomes. Personally, is it a good trade? It's an okay trade. For 0 DTE, as long as Nvidia is going up and stays up, it'll be a fine trade. To make it safer for him, I probably would have, if I were him, I would have opened it up a little further back. So maybe something like this. Yes, you make a little bit less and you put more collateral on the line, but your probability goes up by 20% just by moving it one strike backwards. So his was just over 50%. It's now sitting at 59%, which is good for him. Mine would be at minimum of 70%. If you wanted to make it even safer, you could go farther back with these strikes. Now it's 80%. You make less, but it's a lot safer of a trade. But yeah, not a terrible one. On smaller accounts, you can get some really nice plays if you trade the 40 delta, and you can get away with it. If you're trading with the trend, sometimes you can get away with it, but you can also not do it. You can also not get away with it and lose your full amount. So definitely wouldn't trade a full account portfolio on a 40 delta or a 45 delta. If we're doing full accounts, which you should never be doing, but if you are, you want the highest probability chance, and so you want to back it away. And for those saying that there's some chop and the puts are getting messed up, that is perfect, because these types of plays are going to work the best, because the longer you stay in this kind of range bound motion, the less the premium's worth. And as it goes down further and farther, if you're on the theta or selling side, you're making money and you're keeping your profit. So for those who said it went below 100, it never went below 100. And at this point, it is rising back up. So he's actually getting a higher probability trade as this rises. So I think he'll be okay for now. But let's see. On the 5 week to date. Oh yeah. 2 weeks. The low. What is the low that we've had? Let's change this to like the 1 hour. Okay, the low we've had was at 83.78 2 weeks ago. Within the last week, the low's been the 100.05, which we just hit. It is a lower low, which is a little nerve-wracking, but it is rebounding from it. And he'll probably be safe. If he wants to lock in that profit early before expiration, he could. And but right now it's this whole strike above it, so I think he'll be okay for now.
Just saw a huge pullback on SPY.
Bullish or bearish pullback?
Bullish.
Interesting. Let's take a look.
What are your thoughts on Sniper's recent signal?
I haven't seen it. Let me take a look.
I love the news. I'm not gonna lie, I said I was gonna get off, but I just sat there staring at the chart for another half hour and just scalped the shit out of that. That was great.
Yeah. What was there some news that came through?
I have no idea, but SPY just shot through the roof.
I see that.
Yeah, I have no idea what news came through, but it's got to be something for a move like that drastic.
Trump was hinting at a Chinese deal on Truth Social. I wonder if something happened. But I don't know if that happened because that was earlier. That was at 5 a.m. this morning.
Oh, okay. That's probably not what moved it then.
No, I don't think so. But if they did come to a deal or if something else happened, that could be incredible.
Wait, here we go.
How
Trump War Room reveals its inaugural Chuck of the Day win. Never mind.
I was going to say, if that did come, I think the spike would be much larger than that.
Yeah, you're right. And with a deal with China?
Yeah, we would be like hitting 600 almost in like a second.
No way.
No, we would for sure be hitting like 540 levels.
Oh, 100%. 600 is crazy though. Like, get out of here.
No, I was exaggerating a little bit, but if you look at the other ones, just on the news, we went from 480 all the way up to, what was it, 540 or something like that, which is a 60 point move. We're sitting at like 530, 536.3. That'd be 590 on another 60 point move. 590. So 600 is a little bit of an exaggeration, but with some incredible news.
I didn't think about it like that.
With some news like that, like we could potentially be knocking at 600 again, like instantly.
God, can you imagine full porting calls?
Oh, I don't have buying power for today, so I hope that don't happen. But if it did happen, I would be diving in with both feet.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely kill my day trade limit and get flagged as a pattern day trader just to hit that.
Yeah, I did that last time. I did put in 4 day trades over on a small account. I was like, you know what, 90 days or like make back.
This is so worth it.
Make like, dude, I sold QQ. I bought and then sold for a profit a QQ option at $1,300 0 DTE.
Damn.
One contract worth $13 per contract. $13 on a 0 DTE QQQ option. And it was so far in the money. It was ridiculous. I watched it later go up and hit 27. After I sold, it hit 27 that day. I was like, I only took 50% profit of what it could have been, but I was being safe. So I was happy with that.
You can never fault yourself for being safe in these trades.
Yeah. I do like to monitor the options I sell to see kind of what they did hit later. But I don't let that influence my, hey, am I going to buy or hold? No, when I hit my stop loss, I'm out. When I hit my take profits, I'm out. So
yeah,
that's how I roll with it. And sometimes, like yesterday, when I hit my stop loss I stopped. I was done for the day. I ended with a loss yesterday of like $600. Then my trade turned around and was up 4,000 that evening, and I just was like, oof. But I hit my stop loss and I stayed out of the market, so I did good.
Yeah, what was your stop loss? Like, what percentage do you use?
On that trade, it was 20%. Generally, it's between 20 to 30. Maximum I do is probably about 50%. So
really, 20 to 30. That's a big stop loss.
Do you know why?
Tell me.
All right, I'll tell you why. 20% is a standard stop loss for a lot of retail traders. Would you agree?
And you're going to say a lot of institutionals stop hunt.
Yes. Stop hunting is a real thing. It's very real. A lot of people will set a stop loss either by doing a limit order at a high, or they will do a 20% trailing. Okay. and they'll usually they'll try to enter as close to a high as they can. Well, institutions know this as well, and so in order to increase liquidity, it's called a liquidity grab, they can pump the price to fill a major order, and they'll pump it up to that 200 level, trigger a bunch of stop losses, which means there's sell-off, which means they can buy in. And so there's two ways you can play that. You can either play with a 30% stop loss, which is a little bit further than they'll probably go, or you can set your entry orders 20% above the point that you would do. And so it's easier to do the 30% stop loss and enter immediately than it is to try to time it and catch the big candles. So that's why I sometimes will do a 30% stop loss, or even a 50%, depending on how major of a reversal it is, because I understand when some of the different market moves and such, and we'll try to take advantage of that and not get tripped out. Unfortunately, yesterday I did get tripped out. Stopped out. I did have a tighter loss because I was doing a bigger order, and with a bigger order, there's good and bad in that. Unfortunately, my stop loss triggered, but that's kind of the two ways to play it. Either try to time it on the way back through, or to set a larger stop loss. So that's my reasonings.
So how long have you been trading for?
10 years.
10 years? Nice. And is it like, that's obviously that's not your full-time job now, but like, did you ever think that it might be?
I mean, is it my full-time job? I don't really know. I run, so I own a couple companies, but I mean, this is what I do every day. I wake up, read through the markets, sit down and trade throughout the day, for sure until 10:30. But often I'll go for the entire time the market's open, trading futures, trading options, trading shares. I mean, so yes, it's not I'm a retail trader still, but at the same time, I trade every single day, and I probably could qualify as like a full-time trader.
That's pretty cool.
I do.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Thousands of trades
honestly.
every year. I do thousands of trades every year. So
yeah, that's definitely the goal for me.
So I don't know. Yeah, I have other duties and stuff that I do, but I mean, since I'm the boss and I spend most of my time, it's arguably that this is what I do too. So.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I previously worked in a bank and did that for like 5 years. Let's see, 4 or 5 years. Quit that. Actually made a comment in the Discord about why. But new leadership came in. They really didn't have any business being in the industry. They didn't have the background for it. They started putting a lot of different internal policies and stuff in place that shouldn't have been there. I kind of saw a lot of writing on the wall, and so they called a meeting and asked for our opinions, and I gave them mine, and it was in the meeting. Everyone just kind of shot down. Like it. Well, they let me say my piece, but then they were like, "We understand your concerns, but we're still going through with this." And I walked out of that meeting and had at least 5 different people who were in that, even people in upper leadership, come up to me and be like, "Hey, that was awesome. I 100% agree with you, but there's nothing we can do." And when I saw upper leadership do that, I immediately went back to my desk. I drew up a resignation letter and handed it to my boss, and he's like, "Dude, we can't. No." I'm like, "Sorry, but I know what I'm seeing, and things are gonna fall apart in short order." And so I left.
Yeah.
Got a 50% salary increase at my next position, which I started like within a week. I think it was like 4 days later, I was already in that position, a new position. Nice. So it was cool. I stayed at that company for 6 months and then branched out and did my own thing. But basically what happened is that company, that financial institution, in a year, they had gone through, I think, 4 CEOs. the turnover rate was then at 90%. From where it had been like 20%, it was then within a year it was at 90%. My direct boss quit that job and went on to become a basketball coach. He's like, dude, I'm done. He's done with the whole industry, so I'm gonna go be a basketball coach. I'm like, okay, good for you.
Yeah.
From what I know, I don't think I know one single person who even works there anymore, who worked there, during that time period. I don't know of any of them that stayed after a year.
Are you at will to discuss to say the name of the company?
No, I can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting. But I kind of saw it. I expected, honestly, when I told some of my colleagues and stuff, I was like, hey, I'm resigning. I just put in my letter of resignation, and there's like 5 of them who told me they were going to quit too. I was like, I understand, man. And I would recommend, I would recommend figuring out where you're going to go next. I have people who are already reaching out to me, and like, so I'm not too worried about me, but like don't just leave with and not have anything to sustain yourself. But
oh yeah,
it was an interesting ride, and just looking back now, like it was the perfect time to leave, and it was one of the best decisions I made, to be honest. Because I don't know what would happen if I had been trapped in there, or COVID-19 stuff caused a ton of issues and stuff. Jobs were hard to find. I don't know what I would have done if I couldn't have found another job and stuff. Like, it would have been miserable.
Yeah, I totally feel that.
Anyways, yeah. From there,
anyways, I'm actually gonna hop off this time.
Okay.
I have no trades left, so I'm kind of forced out.
Sounds good. Also, it is 10:20. I generally quit this around 10:30, and so since we're already getting there, I'll give one final update to everyone else, and then I am going to hop off as well. So, currently on the 1 minute.
I'll see you Monday.
We'll see you. On the 1 minute, we have a push above the VWAP. We are above the 200 EMA. We are above the opening range breakout. Strong bullish signals coming in. MACD is showing a potential crossover into a sell cycle. We are high on the RSI around 63.32, when generally we'll see a turnaround around the 70 RSI. We are still making higher lows and higher highs. So depending on what this next couple of candles do, we could continue that bull trend. Looking over to the 5 minute, we're probably just starting out this bullish trend. Yes, we're in the middle of our buy cycle. We are pushing up against the 200 EMA currently, so we need to break that to continue this bullish push. We are above the opening range breakout. We are above most of our EMAs. We still yet to push above the 200. There is a bullish confirmation showing up on the 9 and 21. We are currently bouncing back down to gain some strength before making another attempt at that 200 EMA on the 5 minute chart. Looking at the longer time frames over here on the 30-minute chart for the day, we are starting to close that sell-off cycle. Now would be a good time to take profits on those puts and get ready for a reversal for the rest of the day. We are currently right around the range of VWAP, right around the opening range breakout. We've not yet pushed past the 9 and 21. We've not yet got a confirmation on the 30-minute or the 50-minute, but it does look like we are starting a little bit of a trend change here. So probably going to see bullish movement throughout the rest of the day, perhaps this afternoon as well. So that is kind of where we're going to close it off here. So currently reversing, gaining support for another push at the 5 minute, and then potentially green for the rest of the day. That's it for today. I will talk to you guys later, maybe even tune back in the afternoon. But you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. All right, and for those of you on the YouTube stream, this has been Free the Trade Live SPY Analysis. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Happy trading out there, and we will see you next week on Monday, since the markets will be closed for Easter tomorrow. Once again, this is Free the Trade, and I am DK300507, and we'll see you next time on Free the Trade.